This is Valley News Live at 5.
Good evening, everyone. We begin with breaking news. Fargo police are investigating a string of suspicious incidents in the 13th Avenue corridor. 6 of them have been reported in the last 2 weeks. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley has been following this story from the beginning. She joins us live now in the studio with the latest. Bailey.
Stacy, of those 6 situations, Fargo police say 3 of them seem to have the same individual involved. They say it's a person that's known to the department and someone that's known to walk up to people and say uncomfortable things, most of the time to women.
We don't have a solid identity. We're just basing our information on some past behavior that we found. And of course, we'll have to do some interviews with that. Based on what we're seeing right now, officers are always out in that area because it's one of our high retail areas, so they're always out there. At this time, we won't be adding any extra patrol.
Now, I was the first and only reporter to tell you about the incidents at Barnes & Noble and the Fargo Target, both on January 28th. One woman says a group of 5 men and a woman followed her and her kids around the bookstore and eventually had to be escorted to their car by an employee. The other woman says she was in the baby aisle at Target when a man came up, asked her unsettling questions about her husband, like how much money he makes and if he's a good dad, before grabbing her hand. Now, the latest incident happened just Friday night in the parking lot of Red Lobster when the female victim says a man grabbed her arm while she was walking to her car and then stood behind her car trying to prevent her from backing out. Fargo police urge you to call them immediately if something similar happens to you, saying there's no call too small for police to look into.
I hear the same thing, is that people, they call it that we didn't want to bother you. They're never bothering us, because many times those little things like that can turn into something big.
Now tonight on Valley News Live at 6, I have an exclusive story with the latest victim from Friday's incident at Red Lobster. Stacy.
All right, Bailey, thanks so much. Well, to the forecast, we're starting out the week with sub-zero temperatures, and they may be sticking around for a while. Here's Hutch to let us know how low we'll go tonight.
Well, let's start with how low we were this morning. Air temperatures in Fargo 20 below zero, 22 below in Valley City, and up to the north, Langdon and Rolla in the 30s below. Baudette, you also joined them. And wind chills as we head into the evening are between 15 and 45 below. Langdon, one of the colder spots. Anywhere you see those black colors there, frostbite can occur in 15 minutes or so. And look at this morning at 6:15 a.m. That wind chill in Langdon was 57 below zero. That is dangerously cold. Wind chill warning continues up north, advisory down south. Air temperatures will be in the teens below tonight, Stacy, as we head outdoors. The wind chills will be in the 20s to 30s below here in the FM area. Grand Forks, well, we'll be well into the teens below zero by bedtime tonight. I'll have details on how long our cold snap lasts. It does look like it is going to linger, welcome or not. We'll prepare you for what you need to know here in your hour-by-hour forecast in a moment.
All right, Hutch, thanks so much. One man is now recovering after being trapped in a lake when his logging equipment broke through the ice. Officials say it happened Saturday afternoon in Lake Hattie Township when 45-year-old Roy Davis's equipment fell through the ice, trapping him inside. Another worker at the scene was able to free Davis before he was taken to the hospital to be treated for hypothermia. The deployment of National Guard troops to secure Washington, D.C. in the aftermath of the January 6th riot at the Capitol will cost nearly $500 million. The Guard deployment brought troops in from all 50 states as law enforcement agencies locked down the Capitol for the inauguration. More than 20,000 National Guard troops were positioned across the city to protect lawmakers and landmarks. Officials say the money is expected to cover the cost of the nearly 7,000 troops that will remain in D.C. through mid-March. As an impeachment trial looms, the White House remains focused on getting an aid bill passed in Congress. That's the word from White House press secretary, who fielded several questions today on impeachment and exactly what might get left out of a COVID relief package.
The ideas in this package, the proposals in this package have broad support from Democrats, Republicans, and independents across the country. So I would pose the question back to Republicans. Why aren't you supporting what the vast majority of the public supports?
House Democrats also introduced a new bill today that would make the child tax credits permanent. The American Family Act would provide families with monthly payments of $250 per child and $300 for children under 6. Now that the NFL season is over, many of the league's stadiums will get a new purpose, helping in the fight against COVID-19. Health officials say virus statistics are trending in the right direction, but warn that could change very quickly. NBC's Chris Pallone has the story.
COVID-19 numbers continue trending in the right direction. Infections down 20% from the week before, hospital admissions down 17%, but both still worse than what the nation saw last summer.
This is a national emergency, and the approach we are taking reflects this.
As some states roll back mask mandates and other COVID-related restrictions, the government's top health experts warn now's not the time to ease up.
We have yet to control this pandemic. We still have this emerging threat of variants, and I would just simply discourage any of those activities. We really need to keep all of the mitigation measures at play here.
As scenes of crowded Super Bowl celebrations Sunday night stoke fears of a potential infection surge, the NFL is now offering all of its stadiums as mass vaccination centers. President Joe Biden virtually toured this one in Arizona Monday.
You're doing one heck of a job.
Drug maker Pfizer says it might soon be able to double production of its vaccine, boosting supply as the government starts sending 1 million vaccine doses to drugstores across the country.
Showed up at the pharmacy, took like 10 minutes. I had to wait, fill out a few forms, and that's it.
With the quick spreading UK COVID strain starting to take hold across the country, time to control the pandemic is running short.
The foot race is clear. It's rate of vaccination versus rate of infection. Vaccinate, vaccinate, vaccinate.
So far, 40 million doses have been administered in the U.S. Chris Pallone, NBC News.
As government leaders and school administrators consider the safest way to return to in-person learning, the CDC says it will issue its latest school reopening guidelines in the coming days. All True is reminding people in Grand Forks not to share registration links for their vaccine appointments. The hospital says 360 appointments were canceled because the people who booked them didn't meet the criteria for Phase 1B. They say no vaccine doses have gone to waste, but when you book appointments out of turn, you're wasting healthcare workers' time and taking up slots meant for some of the most vulnerable people in our communities. All True's vaccination appointments are only being scheduled through their wait list. They'll contact you directly when it's your turn. To get on the wait list, call the number on your screen, but only if you're 75 and over or 65 to 74 with specific high-risk medical conditions. Essentia Health is offering a new treatment for some COVID patients. If you're diagnosed with mild to moderate COVID-19 and are at high risk for severe complications and hospitalizations, you could receive a new monoclonal antibody treatment that has just been authorized for emergency use by the FDA. It should be given as soon as possible to be the most effective, but can be given up to 10 days after your symptoms start. There's a limited supply, so it's being allocated by federal and state agencies. You have to meet the FDA's criteria in order to receive it. Essentia is also relaxing their visitor restrictions. Starting tomorrow, 1 adult visitor will be allowed per patient per day in all clinics and hospitals. There's some leeway for kids in the hospital. Pediatric patients can have 2 caregivers visit each day. In birthing centers, 1 adult visitor is allowed. That's in addition to the other parent of the child. No visitors are allowed for adult COVID patients except for end-of-life situations. If you're looking to stay on top of the latest vaccine information, take a look at our new VNL vaccine tracker. You can access national and local resources in just 2 easy steps. Open your phone's camera, point to the QR code on your screen, then tap the link that pops up. More than 28,000 grocery workers have tested positive or been exposed to COVID-19. Grocery workers are deemed essential, but hazard pay for many of them ended months ago. An ordinance in Long Beach, California approved hero pay for grocery workers, but now one of the top earning stores in the region is claiming it can't afford to stay open.
Bertha Ayala has worked the butcher counter at the Long Beach Food for Less for 14 years. Last year was the busiest and hardest.
Do you worry about your health?
Oh, yeah. I'm very worried.
She's diabetic, 61 years old, and working 6 days a week because she was told her job is essential.
Do you feel like Food for Less recognizes you as a hero?
They said, but I don't believe it.
When Long Beach passed a mandate for hazard pay late last month, requiring chain grocery stores to pay $4 an hour more for at least 120 days, parent company Kroger announced the store was one of 2 closing. Their reason? The store couldn't afford to stay open.
Do you feel like you're stuck in the middle of politics here?
Yes.
Ayala's union says her Food for Less store saw sales from March to August rise 29% from the year before, and says according to financial records, Kroger, the largest grocery chain in the country, earned twice as much last year as the previous year. The Hero Pay ordinance has also prompted a lawsuit from the California Grocers Association. Ron Fong is the group's president.
You know, the one thing that we do agree with is that our employees are our heroes. However, it is really unprecedented to have a city council demand what businesses should do with their wages.
Fong says grocers should decide if they want to give employees hazard pay, and some have.
$2, it's $3, it's gift cards, gas cards. They are our heroes, and we have done everything possible that we can to keep them safe in our grocery stores.
Bertha says Kroger has given her a few gift cards to spend in its company's stores, but they're inconsistent and insufficient to hazard pay. Now she faces a pandemic without a job or health insurance.
Are you scared?
I'm really scared.
In a statement, Kroger says this ordinance unfairly targets big chain supermarkets. The union that represents local employees here in this district says in the last year, more than 1,800 workers have fallen ill from COVID-19. Jonathan Vigliotti, CBS News, Long Beach, California.
Delta will continue to block sales of middle seats through the end of April. The airline says it will keep those seats open and limit capacity on all flights departing through April 30th. Delta says it wants customers to be able to confidently plan and book their spring travel. The airline says it is also working to make it easier for travelers to understand testing requirements. It's building a digital concierge to manage booking, COVID-19 test scheduling, and automatic document verification all in one place on Delta.com. A new study finds that travel may be the biggest reason many people choose to be vaccinated. We'll explain next.
Dangerous wind chills expected once again tonight. A look to the north shows a 30 to 50 below already. We have some cold weather that will linger. I'll have details on how long right after this.